So tonight, Donald Trump had another rally, this time taking place in Minnesota, and as expected, it was terrible. I mean, every single Trump rally is pretty awful, so this is no exception, but there's never anything of substance talked about at these rallies. It's always just conspiracy theories and whatnot. So I have some clips from this speech to show you. You'll see what I mean in just a second. But my main two takeaways from Trump's speech tonight is, number one, he has no material on Vice President Kamala Harris. Like, he does not know how to attack her. And number two, he's panicking. He realizes that the dynamic of this race has flipped in the past week or so. So now him and the Republicans have to play some defense, and they don't know how. So he's just kind of making stuff up on the spot, kind of on the fly, and seeing if it resonates with his base and then running with it. That's pretty much Donald Trump's strategy right now. So the first clip I want to show you is Donald Trump referencing his old arguments. We've been hearing this one for the past 4 years, that somehow the Democrats are going to cheat in 2024. Ridiculous. Take a look.
If they don't cheat, we win this state easily, okay? They cheat. They have no shame. They cheat. Do you understand that, you crooked people? They're the most crooked. They cheat. They cheated in the last election, and they're going to cheat in this election, but we're going to get them.
Yeah, so the same old tired talking points, the same kind of talking points that have lost Republicans every single election since 2020. They lost badly in 2022. They lost badly in 2023. They've lost all of these special elections with MAGA lunatics who claim that the election was fraud. And now Donald Trump is using the same talking point, that somehow the Democrats mysteriously cheat in the elections. By the way, the state that he's in, Minnesota, he says that Democrats have to cheat to win that state. Republicans haven't won that state since the 1970s. So I think that maybe the people of Minnesota just don't like Donald Trump and the Republicans, and they haven't for quite some time now. So no idea what he's talking about here. But I also think this speaks to, who Donald Trump is and who we know him to be, specifically because everybody in the Republican Party recently told us that Donald Trump was a changed man following his assassination attempt, that, he's not about these conspiracy theories anymore. He's not doing that anymore. And then suddenly, just like that, he's back on the campaign trail saying that the Democrats are these super powerful beings who can just cheat at elections just like that at the drop of a hat and win. So continuing the old talking points. And honestly, this things that he's saying here in this rally, saying like, oh, Democrats are going to cheat, just pushes away independent voters. Because any logical American who's not MAGA realizes that, of course, 2020 was fair. There was extensive investigation, extensive court cases, and Donald Trump is lying about it. He knows that he's lying about it. So he's just kind of pushing away those independent voters. So if he wants to keep doing that, by all means, those independent voters who feel disenfranchised by the Republican Party, come on over. Come on over to Kamala Harris's side. We'll welcome you with open arms, I promise you. I mean, just ridiculous from Donald Trump, as always. Now, the next clip I want to show you is another tired talking point from Donald Trump, but it's just ironic that he's bringing it up now. He's saying that if, he and the Republicans lose this upcoming election, America is going to go to hell. It's going to go to garbage. So take a look.
This is the greatest movement in the history of our country, and if we don't win this election, our country is finished.
Yeah, so the reason I'm showing you this is, of course we've heard Republicans say this before, but it's just so funny that Donald Trump is trying to say this in Joe Biden's America. He used this talking point in 2020 saying if Joe Biden won, America's going to go to chaos. And then Joe Biden won, and we've made historic investments in fighting climate change, historic investments in cancer research and therapeutics, capping insulin at $35 a month for seniors on Medicare, a historic investment in infrastructure, all these really amazing things. And America is thriving. We're doing way better than we were 4 years ago. So it's just so ironic to me that these Republicans think they can run with this talking point. Does Donald Trump think that lowering healthcare costs is destroying America, that we are finished because Joe Biden did that? Does he think that Kamala Harris wanting to expand on that work means that America is going to garbage, that we're not going to be a good country anymore? Really? Really, I think that's what Donald Trump is telling the people, that all of this amazing progress we've made, that even Republicans have voted for with some of these bills, is apparently tanking America. Oh, I forgot. Silly me. If Donald Trump is not ruling as a dictator with an iron fist, then he thinks America is terrible. He always talks bad about America unless it's him leading the country as the dictator that he wants to be. They always run with this talking point that anytime a Democrat wins, it goes to chaos. But funnily enough, every time a Democrat wins, it seems like the country gets better. And every time a Republican wins, it seems like the country gets worse. The data has been pretty consistent on this since World War II. So not sure what he's talking about with this one. But who really knows what Donald Trump is talking about these days, right? So anyway, aside from that, the next clip I want to show you is him just blatantly lying. Just blatantly lying to the people in front of him. And he's trying this new line of attack against Kamala Harris. And this kind of goes back to what I said with him having no material on her. Like, he just doesn't know how to go about doing it. So take a look.
A new candidate to defeat the most incompetent, unpopular, and far-left vice president in American history. Probably the most far-left person in American history. Less than 4 months from now, Minnesota is going to defeat Kamala Harris.
Yeah, so Trump is trying to claim that Kamala Harris is the most far-left person in America. What? I mean, what is he talking about? That is obviously false. I have no idea where he gets this stuff, but it's clearly a new line of attack for Donald Trump. So number one, that's what it is. He's just trying to rile up the base with this, again, it's old and tired talking point that the American people are sick of because it's not true. God, everybody's so tired of it. Independents, Republicans, Democrats. It's like, oh my God, do you have anything new? Of course not. So he has to recycle it, saying, oh yeah, Kamala Harris is the most left-leaning person in American history. What? I did the same thing about Joe Biden 4 years ago. He was like, oh, he's the most far left guy ever. And now suddenly there's a new most far left person. You know, it just kind of seems like Republicans adapt this talking point to whoever's the Democratic nominee every single election cycle. It seems like they don't actually believe it, but they just adopt it. Oh, wait, that's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. And as we just talked about previously, apparently, Donald Trump thinks that Kamala Harris wanting to invest in American jobs, expand veterans' health care, investing in healthcare research, lowering healthcare costs, you know, all this stuff. Apparently, that's far left. Apparently wanting to build America back up, have manufacturing here in America, creating jobs is far left liberal terribleness, according to Donald Trump. That's his words. So just remember that when Donald Trump is saying like, oh, it's far left, just know that he's referencing like these really amazing things that most Americans would agree on. Now, does Donald Trump have anything on the flip side to show, like from his record that he can point to that he accomplished? No, of course he doesn't. He has tax cuts for the wealthy, taking reproductive rights away from women, and an insurrection all under his belt. That's his record that he's running on right now and hoping to get 4 more years. So if, you know, Kamala Harris is being labeled as far left and she's investing in American manufacturing, investing in American jobs and helping our veterans, then sign me up. That sounds pretty great to me, doesn't it? I don't know about you. I guess Donald Trump doesn't agree, but sign me up. I'm there. Absolutely. So anyway, the final clip I want to show you, after all of that nonsense, these tired talking points that don't land, that are not resonating, the final clip I want to show you is Donald Trump trying to call Kamala Harris unintelligent and stupid, which is just ironic given that it's coming from him. So anyway, take a look.
And now we're replacing him with worse than he is, a dangerous person who's not smart. You know she couldn't pass a law exam, right? Have you heard that? These are minor details. She couldn't pass a bar exam. She took the bar exam. She couldn't pass it. She thought she'd never be able to pass it. This is what we have wanting to be up. Other than that, she's a very fine woman. I'd like to make that statement.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, really, isn't that just ironic? You know, Donald Trump, the guy who said we should nuke hurricanes, the guy who also said that a hurricane hitting the United States was the wettest we've seen from the standpoint of water, and the guy who stared at an eclipse without sunglasses on, protective eyewear, is trying to call Kamala Harris, the accomplished, educated woman who is a district attorney, a prosecutor, attorney general, senator, now vice president, and now also Democratic nominee for president. He's trying to call her unintelligent? Really? Really? I mean, it's just so ironic. It's always projection with Donald Trump. He knows that he's not all that bright. He knows he's no Albert Einstein. So he has to put that on other people, saying, oh, well, you know, Kamala Harris, she's this, she's that. When in reality, she has an amazing record to run on. A very accomplished record to run on. She's a lawyer. a lawyer, highly educated, and Donald Trump, his record to run on is, well, giving a tax break to the wealthy, taking reproductive rights away from women, and also an insurrection. He has all of those under his belt. So, we have an incredibly accomplished woman, and then we have Donald Trump, and he decides that out of these two choices, that she is the unintelligent one. It's mind-blowing, the lack of self-awareness with Donald Trump. He doesn't recognize that he's just not all that bright. He's not that guy. He's no academic here. And the final thing I have to say about this is that he's pointing out that Kamala Harris didn't pass her bar exam the first time around. Number one, she passed it, and then she went on to become a district attorney and an attorney general, and now she's perfectly prosecuting the case against Donald Trump. But number two, California also has one of the hardest bar exams to pass, like maybe the hardest in the country. So I would love, genuinely, I would love for Donald Trump to try to sit for that exam and see if he could pass it. You know what? Pick a state. Pick a state, Donald. Go try to take the bar in any of those states. I would love to see him try to pass it. Like, she actually passed it. She's a lawyer, and she, as we mentioned, district attorney, prosecutor, long career in the legal field. And then Donald Trump has a long career in scamming people and then defrauding people as well. So, I'm going to go with Kamala Harris every single day of the week. It's just insane that he's pointing fingers when it comes to intelligence. Trump is pointing fingers. It's ironic, isn't it? Anyway, his speech was terrible, as it always is, as we said at the beginning of the video, but I just had to show you a little bit so you get some form of idea as to what attacks Donald Trump is running with these days. And I think, as you can tell, they're not good. They're not good at all. So anyway, I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Also, drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about Trump's speech this evening. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you're having an amazing rest of your day.